Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend my warmest greetings to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Andorra Republic, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Szijjártó Péter, the members of the delegation from Andorra and Hungary, as well as all our dear guests at our press conference. First of all, I would like to ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Szijjártó Péter to continue his speech.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my warmest greetings to you. I would like to extend my warmest greetings to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Szijjártó Péter here in Budapest. It is undoubted that we do not have the opportunity every day in Hungary to receive visitors from Andorra. Now, 5 years later, we have the opportunity to do so again. I consider the timing of this meeting to be important because it also reminds us that the diplomatic relations between the two countries were established 30 years ago. There is undoubtedly a serious physical distance and a great difference between the characteristics of the two countries, because while we know Andorra from its high mountains and its capital city, which is the highest in the world, we are familiar with the underground. So although we look at the world from a completely different perspective, and we are located in a different place, we are currently at very similar points of view in terms of the problems that are affecting the world. Both of us are interested in the return of international politics to the soil of bourgeois respect, because if this does not happen, it could have negative consequences, which are particularly serious in the case of non-major countries. Last year, when I was in Andorra, my goal was to become the next Hungarian Speaker of the Council of the European Union. Unfortunately, I must say that the symptoms of Europe's weakening, such as the dangerous security situation, the very strong energy, security challenges, and the dramatic drop in competitiveness are even more pronounced. The European Union is weakening more and more rapidly due to the numerous mistakes of Brussels. This is due to the fact that a war party Brussels policy has largely admitted that there is still war in our neighborhood. The European economy is beginning to disintegrate due to the global economy's crises, and our energy security is facing particular challenges here in Europe due to Brussels' over-ideologized approach. However, we are not interested in a weakening, but in a well-functioning European Union, a European Union that helps the performance of national economies, a European Union that is not subject to political pressure, and a European Union that does not suppress, but honors and strengthens national characteristics. We believe that a key tool for strengthening the European Union is the strengthening of its external relations. The external relations of the European Union must be strengthened by countries with whom cooperation strengthens and does not weaken the European Union, by countries with whom cooperation does not pose a threat to our heads, and by countries with whom cooperation strengthens and increases the European Union's competitiveness, and does not take away the money of the European people for a sum of 100 billion euros. If we are to find a country in Europe that is not a member of the European Union, it would be good if it worked closely with the European Union. Then Andorra is such a country. This is why Hungary strives to finally sign a social agreement between the European Union and Andorra. Andorra's economic performance would add to the European economic performance in a good way. Its spending on Andorra is balanced, and in fact, it is in a positive position. It receives 10 million tourists a year, most of them from Europe, and they pay in euros. So we do not see the reason why this social agreement should not be signed. It is important that for both countries, sovereignty is a factor that we are committed to. Sovereignty in the sense that we say who we let into our countries. We take decisive action against illegal migration. Sovereignty is also very important in terms of economy and taxation. The low taxes are a great basis for Andorra and Hungary's competitiveness. So we do not accept anyone from outside to impose any kind of tax increase on us. Finally, I would like to say that the recognition of the Catalan language plays a very important role in our higher education. With the help of Andorra, Catalan lectors work at 4 universities in Hungary. And as a nation that is very sensitive to the respect for the use of language of people living in minorities, we are very interested in the recognition of the Catalan language in the future as well. Thank you very much, dear Imre, Honorable Minister Assoni, for coming to me today. We are here and we are happy to discuss the two-way relationship.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to ask Honorable Minister Assoni Imre Torfaus to continue her speech. Good morning to everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Szijjártó Péter Minister, for the invitation to celebrate the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Principality of Andorra and Hungary. It was already in 1993 when the Constitution, the first written constitution, was prepared, and Hungary was one of the first countries in 1995 to acknowledge our sovereignty, so we are very grateful for that. Over the past 30 years, we have had great satisfaction that Andorra and Hungary have built a very strong bilateral relationship. For example, in 2022, we have already signed an agreement on the separation of the two territories, and during our third visit last year, we have signed an agreement on the recognition of customs rights. We have helped with cultural cooperation. We have started joint artistic projects and initiatives, such as exhibitions, concerts, literary gifts, and we are still working on those opportunities, for example, to strengthen these cultural relations, for example, in Catalan, which is the official language of Andorra, and to exchange literary works between Hungary, and we are still improving our relations in terms of language exchange, and as we have agreed with Mr. Minister, we are increasing cooperation between the University of Andorra and one or the other Hungarian university, because multilingualism, cultural diversity is really one of our primary priorities, both internationally and at the Hungarian level. We greatly appreciate the efforts of Hungary in the European area to develop relations between Andorra and the EU. First of all, our social agreement, which is currently on the council table, and this agreement is extremely important for us, especially in the economic area, because our economy, as Mr. Minister mentioned, is doing very well, but it is still mainly dependent on tourism. So, we expect that this agreement will help us to diversify our economy. We are especially grateful for the role that the two Hungarian presidents have played in terms of the acceptance of the report in 2011, which facilitated the start of the talks, and of course, I have to emphasize the active support, which was shown during the last Hungarian presidency, that is in the second half of 2024. During this presidency, Hungary offered that this social agreement should remain unchanged, taking into account the various technical levels, and this was a very fruitful idea. And we, together with Mr. Minister Szijjártó and his colleagues, are very happy that we are holding a presentation at the Hungarian Diplomatic Academy, which will be a great pleasure for me, because I can show what challenges Andorra has to face, and what Andorra's experience in Europe as a small country is. And I would like to underline that Andorra also has the responsibility to contribute to stability, as well as to the international dialogue in an active way. So no matter what size countries face the same challenges, peace, security, Andorra has had peace for 700 years. But cybersecurity is now a big challenge, climate change, the need for economic diversification. These are all challenges that Andorra has to face, and the solution of these kinds of experiences with our Hungarian friends is always very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our press colleagues now have the opportunity to ask questions to the ministers. First, we will collect the questions and then the ministers will answer them.
So, I would like to ask the journalists to ask their questions now.
Thank you very much. I am Kira Adorian from Here TV. Minister, how do you feel about Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, who practically threatened our country on the day before yesterday? And what do you think about András Ratz, who is suspected by the Hungarian government of lighting a church tree in the Carpathian Mountains? And one more question. What is your opinion about the left-wing liberal media accusing Ukrainians of the death of Josef Sebesty? Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to ask the minister to answer the questions.
Briefly, I would like to answer, and the minister will tell me not to stop. So, the president of Zelensky sees Hungary, the Hungarian nation, including the Hungarians living in the Carpathian Mountains, as extremely hostile. He sees Hungary, the Hungarian people, as an obvious enemy. This has become clear to everyone over the past few years, because for many years now they have been taking away and suppressing the rights of the Hungarians in the Carpathian Mountains. These legal provisions have led to the lighting of the church, to the death of a Hungarian. Because he does not want to go to war, he does not want to take part in a senseless slaughter. From this point of view, this threat by the president of Zelensky only reinforces the fact that he is seen as an enemy. I would like to make it clear that no matter how much the president of Zelensky threatens, Hungary does not support Ukraine's joining the European Union. No matter how much he threatens, no matter how much he tries to threaten Brussels, the vote of 2 million people at the Vox in 2025 means an obligation to the Hungarian government. The fact that there are Hungarian citizens who accuse Hungarians of crimes against Hungarians is, in my opinion, a very severe proof of poverty on the one hand, and on the other hand, it makes it clear that the Ukrainians have people in Hungarian politics and people in the so-called professional and analytical world who get their salary so that they can spread the Ukrainian narrative in Hungary. I think everyone is able to assess the relationship with this narrative. I would like to make it clear that Hungary's government, as long as there is a national government in Hungary, will always stand up for Hungarians across all borders, including the Hungarians in the Carpathians.
Thank you very much. With this, we have come to the end of our event. I would like to thank our guests and the press representatives for their respectful attention. I respectfully ask you to wait patiently until the delegation leaves the stage. Goodbye.